Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're doing another top 10 for you. And this is our top 10 favorite roll and write and flip and write games.
Yeah, we decided to merge the two because they're so closely interlinked. So we want to combine those mechanisms.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start this time. You always start. I'm going to start this time.
I do always start.
I'm taking over.
You know what that means? I get to finish.
That's true. All right. So our number 10, this is Roll and Write, the dice game. A roll and write game.
Knee slapper.
Hilarious. All right, this game's all about this guy, Roland Wright, who is a board game designer, and he is trying to make the game of the year. So on your turn, you're going to roll these big series of dice. You're trying to group all these dice together, but then based off of what you draft, you're able to fill in spots on your board. You have a grid that you're trying to fill in all these colored dots on. You can use those dots by erasing them to unlock all these special abilities, but then also what you're ultimately trying to do is you are trying to fill in these award cards that are based off a certain pattern. So it might be a diamond shape in blue with a couple of orange tails coming off of it, or whatever it is. So you're trying to make that shape on your board. But again, you're trying to manipulate the board in order to make that happen. This is a very unique roll and write game. It's very tongue-in-cheek, obviously, as the name suggests. So yeah, so number 10.
Our number 9 is Color It, and this is the kids game where you are rolling dice, and depending on what die rolls, you color your sheet. So that's basically it. You're just trying to be the first one to complete coloring your sheet. There's different numbers on the dice, so that lets you know 1, 2, or 3. Match it with the color to determine where on your sheet you can play it. This game's just really peaceful, and it's really nice to play with children because they get a color while you're also like doing something as well. You're not just coloring. You're coloring for a purpose.
Yeah.
So
competitive coloring.
Competitive coloring. Yes. That's what we're training our children. Competitive coloring.
Our 4-year-old asks for this
all the time.
Daily, almost.
Yeah.
It feels like she loves this game. We have ran out of almost all the pads of paper, and it comes with a ton.
It does.
And we've almost ran out of all of them because of how often she plays this and asks for it.
Yeah, so our number 9 is Color It.
All right, our number 8, I went with a classic. This is Triple Yahtzee. So Yahtzee itself is a game. There's a whole bunch of derivatives of Yahtzee. The one that my family had growing up was Triple Yahtzee. We played this game all the time. And it may sound weird throwing a kind of like a mass market style game onto a list like this, but to be honest, Yahtzee holds up. It's actually a lot of fun. You're rolling these dice. You were trying to get sets. You're trying to get, sets like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, or you're trying to get like runs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing. There's also, every time you roll, you're going to fill in one of the spots on your card. So even if you roll 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, you've got to make a choice to make. You have to, am I going to fill my 1s? Am I going to fill in my 2s? Am I going to fill in my 3s? Am I going to go with a run of 1, 2, 3? That's not very strong. So you have all these choices to make on your turn. And eventually the game gets more and more blocked off to where you have to just fill in something. And there are some spots on the board on your card that just say, wild. You rolled a whole bunch of high numbers, 5s, 6s, 4s, that kind of thing. Maybe just fill in that one and get a whole bunch of points that way. Or you've already filled in your 6s and you read another whole giant batch of 6s. The real prize is getting a Yahtzee. 5 of the exact same thing. If you're able to do that, it's worth a bajillion points.
A bajillion!
But oftentimes it comes down to the end. You haven't rolled one yet. You have to put a 0 there for one of your rolls. But in Triple Yahtzee, you basically do the whole thing 3 times. So it's kind of a strategy game going. It's got a little more levels to it than just the base game of Yahtzee. It's what our family liked. We played a whole bunch as kids. We've got a whole stack of used scorecards that we, for whatever reason, have kept in the box, and we like to reference them and say, "Oh, I won that game. Oh, yeah, but I won this one. Yeah, but this one I won. I beat you by."
That makes so much sense now because Brian keeps all of our scorecards from all of our games. Every game we've ever played that requires one is still in the box. Now I know why. You can't help it.
Yeah,
that's just part of who you are.
So our number 8, Triple Yahtzee.
Our number 7 is Second Chance, and this is a game where you each have the exact same grid, and what's happening is you're flipping over cards. There's 2 cards with different shapes on them, and you're choosing where on your grid you want to color that in. So there's 2 things. One, everybody starts with a random shape that you color on your grid. So you all start a little differently. And then 2, if the shapes that are out there do not fit anywhere on your grid, you can have a second chance. So you can flip over a new card, and if you're able to put that in your grid, then you're able to continue playing and you're not knocked out. Super straightforward like that, super simple, and this is Second Chance.
All right, so our number 6, this is a game called On Tour. All right, so on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to roll 2 10-sided dice. And it's going to give you 2 different numbers. Like, let's say you get a 3 and a 7. You can make it either be 37, or you can make it 73. Put them in either order. There's also going to be some cards that are out there, and it's going to tell you in what region of the board you're going to be playing. This is a map of the United States, so it might say the Midwest, or it might say the Pacific Northeast, or Northwest, or whatever it is. Geography. And it's going to tell you where you can place that spot. So let's say you put a 37 out in Seattle, or whatever the case is. That's the first half of the game. You're just literally just rolling dice, putting a number, and figuring out whether you want it to be a high number or a low number based off what order you play them in, and then where you want them to be on the board based off the cards that are available to you. Then at the very end of the game, you have a whole board full of all these different numbers. What you have to do is you have to trace a map starting with the lowest number on the board and going around trying to find a way through the map without crossing over yourself, trying to go from low numbers to high numbers. And the more states you are able to get through before the end of the game, the more points you're going to get. It's a very interesting game. It's all about this band going on tour throughout the United States, and I like the theme. I like how it comes together, and it is tricky. I like how it has the 2 halves to it too, setting the board up and then making a path through it.
Our number 5 is Biblios, Quill and Parchment. So this is the roll and write version of Biblios. It's kind of funny because there's like almost like 2 halves to this game as well. Like you're going up that track. So in this game, you have stuff that you're trying to fill out on your board, but there's also this other track that you're trying to go up on as well. And so you're just trying to get the best of everything, but you can't. You won't be able to do everything in this game. You just can't. It's impossible. Unless you can, then let me know in the comments below.
All right, so our number 4, this is Rolling Realms. This is from Stonemaier Games, and what it is all the cards in the game are representative of other Stonemaier games. So, for instance, there's Charterstone, there's Euphoria, there is My Little Scythe. All those games are in there. What you're going to do is you're going to take all that stack of cards, you're going to shuffle them up, and you're going to play out 3 of them. And then everyone else at the table is also going to choose out those same exact 3. So you're all working on the exact same board at the same time. On your turn, you're going to roll 2 d6s, 2 6-sided dice, and you are going to choose how to use those. You can't use them on the same card, though. So you have 3 cards in front of you. If you want to put one of the dice that you rolled on Euphoria, let's say, you have to put your other dice that you rolled on a different spot on one of the other 2 cards that you have out there. There's some resources that you're trying to achieve, like pumpkins, coins, and hearts. And you're going to use those to be able to manipulate dice later on in the game, and so you can get as many points as possible. You're going to play 3 rounds, so you're going to see a whole bunch of these cards, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. This is a really cool thematic, thing, trying to use more and more of these Stonemaier games. However, they also partnered with other companies as well. So for now, there's like a Terra Mystica card that you can buy, and it has 6 copies of it, so you can have one in each pack of cards. So you can all use it at the same time. And
endlessly expandable.
Endlessly expandable. It just has more and more cards and places that you can go, and you're just going to choose a new set of 3 every time you play. That is super interesting.
Our number 3 is Welcome To, and in this game, every player has this grid. It's kind of like a new development type of area that you're building, and so this is a flip and write game where cards get flipped over, and you have to decide where you're going to put that in your development. The thing is, depending on where you place it, is going to give you points based on that, or you're trying to get a certain thing together, or you're trying to get something before other people, so that way you can get the points for that. This is just a really, really fun, simple game. It's also a game that was really zoomable. I know a lot of people were playing that during last year a lot, because as long as you can have the PDF, or as long as both people own the game, only one person has to be in charge of that, which is true for a lot of these flip and writes or roll and write games. But I was introduced to this game through that method of playing, and it was an easy way to teach, and it was an easy way to play, even being introduced to it that way.
Alright, so our number 2, this is another flip and write game. Has a lot of the same characteristics, being able to play via Zoom or one of those kind of mediums. This is Cartographers. Every player is going to have a board in front of them. It's basically a big giant grid, but it's not just a grid. There's also spots on the board that are like you can't play on.
Yeah.
And there's different ruins and different money spots on the board that you're trying to use. And there's basically 4 seasons: a spring, a summer, a winter, and a fall. Did I say that right? Spring, summer, winter, fall. I said them out of order, but I said them all. And there is 2 different scoring parameters for each one of those seasons, and they kind of wrap around on each other as well. So you're trying to customize your board to be able to match up what's going to score well in the next round that you're kind of coming up on. It is very interesting. Everyone has access to the same kind of things, but you're filling the board with these different terrains, essentially. Forests or lakes, water, that kind of stuff. Fields, houses. And also, there's going to be a whole wrench thrown at you with these goblins, these monster cards that come out. And they're going to, basically, your opponents get a chance to put on your board all these monsters that are going to take up spots on the board and take away some scoring opportunities. Yeah. But you get to do it back to them, too.
Yeah, so that's nice. You all get to be mean to each other, so it's equal.
Yes, so Cartographers, you're building a map, just like it sounds, as a roll, or as a flip and right game, which we liked a lot.
All right, so our number one, we're kind of embarrassed about because we realized that it was number one on a different list we made, and that is
earlier in the month.
and that is Rolled West. This is a game to where you have your own player boards, and then you're rolling these dice, and you're trying to take the resources that are on there to complete these different things. But if you're the first one to complete something, then you are able to score more points than the other person. What's really nice is that on everybody's turn, you're able to save a resource, so that way you can get some of these bigger, better things. And this is just a great game. We take it with us all the time. Like we said in our other list, whenever we go out, this is one of the games that we take with us. And it's just a really solid, great game. This is a game to where we actually have not played
Gold West, which is the game that it's based off of.
Yeah, and every time we play Rolled West, we're like, we need to play Gold West. Like,
yeah. Well, now TMG is no longer around, so that might be harder to do now.
Just deflated.
Well, also another interesting part about this game is we were very hesitant to get on the, the roll and write, bandwagon. There was a lot of them coming out, it seemed like, and the ones I played, I didn't really like. I don't know if you felt the same way or not.
Yeah.
But this is one of the first ones we played where it was like, hey, that was really fun.
Like, whoa, that was a game. Like a legitimate game.
Which is probably why it's so high for us, is because it's the first one that really, really, really clicked, and we just bring it with us wherever we go.
Well, everybody, we want to know, what is your favorite roll and write or flip and write? Let us know in the comments below. Do you like any of the ones we have on our list? Are there any ones that we have on the list that are like, guys, come on. Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Until then, make sure to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. You can find us on Facebook, we're Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
You guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.